Our dear learners, thank you for choosing Google Day TV. Thank you for supporting e-learning project. This program tonight is sponsored by Google Day TV, Trinity SS Nabwero, in conjunction with the e-learning Teachers Project Uganda. We are in a very critical moment where we are having a pandemic, coronavirus, causing that disease called COVID-19. Tonight, in the session of O-level mathematics, we are going to share with none other than Mr. Victor. Mathematics is a very interesting subject in such a way that it is always available to solve world problems. Of recent, we are having COVID-19. The question we have before us is going to be dealing with COVID-19. I want you to set your television in the only channel, in the very interesting channel, Google Day TV. We are going to share this, and you must feel at home, because I know you're already at home. Mr. Vector is going to take you through this important session. That is my name, Mr. Vector. So let's try to look at the question. My good learners, we are having a question before us. The question is very interesting. It is talking about COVID-19. Let me try, first of all, read through the question. The question says, COVID-19 is a pandemic caused by coronavirus. I know wherever we are staying, we are all accustomed with COVID-19 and coronavirus, because that is one of the reasons as to why we are not in our respective schools. We were advised by the government to go back home because of this pandemic. So we are saying COVID-19 is a pandemic caused by coronavirus. They are saying the production of the virus is partly fixed and partly varies as the number of people who gather. We are saying when 90 people gather, 12,000 viruses are produced. And when 100 people gather, 15,000 viruses are produced. Question 1 is telling us, write down an equation connecting the production of viruses to the number of people who gather. Question 2 is saying, find the number of people who gather for 30,000 viruses to be produced. Question 3 is saying, find the number of viruses that are produced when 600 people gather. And the last question is saying, as a student, advise people on what they should do to prevent the spread of the virus. So, we are going to use our mathematical knowledge. We are going to use the knowledge of mathematics to find out how this issue can be solved. It is disturbing us. We are all in our respective homes. The government advised us to go back home such that we can get rid of this pandemic. It is disturbing us, but we must give a solution to the whole world. First of all, according to the setting of the question, as students, we must be able to know where is the question extracted. It is extracted from which topic of mathematics. That is the most important thing. As we do study mathematics, senior 2, senior 3, senior 4, we always study a topic called variation and proportion. Variation and proportion. Variation and proportion. We always talk about variation and proportion. So, we must have that in our minds, that the question has been extracted from a topic called variation and proportion. So, we must use that knowledge to ensure that we work out this problem which is disturbing us. Don't forget that Mr. Vector is the one taking you through this important session at Google the TV. Continue supporting Google the TV and the e-learning teachers project. So we have agreed, because I have got this information from our friend Joel over there. Joel has told us that this question has been extracted from a topic called variation and proportion. As we do study variation and proportion, we are having different types of variation. We are having what we call direct variation. We are having what we call indirect variation. We are having what we call joint variation. And we are having what we call part or partial variation. Now, our friend Jane over there is telling us that this question has been extracted from that subtopic of partial variation. So that element, that subtopic of partial variation is going to help us solve this problem. Let's go ahead and read. So we are saying COVID-19 is a pandemic caused by coronavirus. The production of the virus is partly fixed and partly varies as the number of people who gather. They are talking about the production of the virus. Production of the virus is consisting of two parts. They are saying the production of the virus is partly fixed and partly varies as the number of people who gather. Meaning that the production of the virus has got two parts. The first part is that which is fixed, and the second part is that which varies directly as the number of people who gather. So let's provide our solution like this. Solution. We can say, let the production of the virus consist of two parts. We can say small p1 and small p2. So we are talking about production of the virus, and we are also talking about people gathering. So we are saying, let the production of the virus consist of two parts, small p1 and small p2. And the number of people and the number of people who gather, people B, N. In other words, our capital P, which is the production of the virus, is equaling to small p1 plus small p2. Because they have told us that the production of the virus is partly fixed. So the part which is fixed is the one which is represented by small p1. And they are also continuing to tell us, and partly varies as the number of people who gather. So the small p2 is the one which represents the second part where the number of people partly varies directly as, or the production of the virus partly varies as the number of people who gather. That's why we are having a combination of small p1 plus small p2, meaning we are having two parts comprising of the production of the virus. The capital P is the production of the virus. The small p is that part of the production which is fixed, and the small p2 is that second part of the production which varies directly as the number of people who gather. Now, let's look at that part where they are saying is partly fixed. Fixed, meaning that first part does not change. It is constant. That small p1 is constant. It doesn't change. It doesn't vary with anything. It is fixed. So we can say, for example, we can say our small p1 equals a constant. A constant can be any letter apart from p and n. Any letter of your choice. A constant can be k, a constant can be w, a constant can be y, a constant can be m. You choose a letter of your choice. So we are going to assume that our constant, that is the first part, which is p1 equals a constant, is going to be m. Small p1 equals m. Remember, we are following the question. The question is saying the production of the virus is partly fixed. So small p1, which is fixed, p1 equals m. And then they are saying partly fixed and partly varies as the number of people who gather. So the second part, p2, is directly proportional or varies directly as the number of people who gather. Now, p2 is directly proportional to the number of people who gather. Remember we said, let the production of the virus consist of two parts, small p1 and small p2, and the number of people be n. So it means p2 is directly proportional to the number of people, which is capital N. So we are struggling. We are looking for possible ways of handling the first part of the question, which says, write down an equation connecting the production of the viruses to the number of people who gather. That is what we are struggling to do. My learners who are watching Google Day TV, we must be very focused, because at the end of the day, we must have that question. We must be able to produce that equation. When we produce that equation, we shall be able to handle the rest of the parts of the question given to us. Now, in our classes, in the process of studying variation and proportion, we said that this symbol represents a variation sign. A variation sign. We say that to vary is to change. Change. To change. We are now trying to look at the connection of the gathering of people in relation to the spread of the virus. When very few people have gathered, what happens? How does the virus, how is it produced when few people are around? How is the virus produced when very many people gather? That is what we are trying to look for. That is our target. We said that we must eliminate this proportion sign. This is called a proportion sign. This is called a variation sign. We need to eliminate it. How do we eliminate it? We eliminate it by introducing equal signs with a constant. A constant can be any letter. apart from these ones we are seeing, we are having a number of letters. Any letter can be a constant. Our interest is to eliminate the constant, the proportion sign. We have said step 1 of eliminating the proportion sign is introducing equal signs with a constant. And we are saying a constant can be any letter of your choice. Apart from these ones you see, apart from P, apart from N, apart from M, it can be any letter. So let's assume our constant this time round is letter K. So we can say P2 equals a constant K N. Now, remember, we are having an equation which says capital P equals small p1 plus small p2. But small p1 is represented by letter M, and small p2 is represented by Kn. So we can combine the two to get our capital P, which is small p1 plus small p2. Therefore, our capital P equals small p1, which is M, plus small p2, which is what? Kn. Kn. So we are having this equation. Having capital P equals M plus Kn. But what is the question telling us? The question is telling us to write down an equation connecting the production of the virus to the number of people who gather. Don't forget that this capital P represents the production of the virus. This capital N represents the number of people who gather. Our interest is to write down an equation connecting the capital P to the capital N, meaning the M and the K are not part of our answer. It means that what we are going to do is to eliminate these constants M and K. How are we going to eliminate them? We are going to eliminate them using the information which is here. Because we have got an information which says when 90 people gather, that 12,000 viruses are produced. It means that we shall get the 90, put it in the position of N. We shall get the 12,000 viruses, put it in the position of P. From there, we shall be able to have an equation which will have the unknowns M and K. Now, when we go ahead, they are also telling us that when 100 people gather, the viruses which will be produced will be 15,000. Meaning that we shall still get a 15,000, put it in the position of P. We also get 100, put it in the position of N. We shall still get another equation. In the process of doing that, we shall be able to have two equations. After getting those two equations, I know we shall be moving closer to handling the question which they have given to us. This is a very, very, very important program on Google the TV. Ensure that you don't miss these programs which are sponsored by the e-learning teachers project, Google the TV, Twinte SS Naweru. We thank you very much, our learners outside there who are watching us, Whatever we produce, you come in and support. That kind of heart which you are showing to us is going to make you to be good Ugandans. We need to be very cooperative if you are to be successful students. Remember, the one who is taking you through this important session is Mr. Vector. And our motto always will be, if you develop the habits of success, you make success a habit. Habits of success, one of them is sitting in your room at home, getting your TV and remote, getting a cup of juice or milk or any drink, get closer to the TV, get access to the lessons which will always be brought to you by the e-learning teachers project.